Greetings, ladies and gentlefish. In this video I'd actually wanted to bring you some gameplay in French artillery. But the replay file was balked to all hell, and so instead the subscriber replay is going to look slightly different. It's going to be French light tanks instead of French artillery. We are still with the frogs, just a different tank type. So, we are kicking off proceedings with I Am Legend 2000 in his AMX 12T. This is the Tier 6 French light tank. And he is here on Erlenberg. You can see that Legend has got his tank set up. I don't know if it's specifically to be a scout or if he's just using grinding equipment, if you will. But he's certainly using camo net and binocular. Telescopes. So we can definitely get some view range going on, and in common with, well, me and I think a lot of AMX 12T drivers, he's got 24 rounds of armor piercing and 6 of APCR. APCR is of course the premium ammunition type, but of course this tank gets a 6-round autoloader, so you have to load your ammunition in belts of 6 rounds. You can also see here the extent of the terrible gun elevation on this machine. So if Legend wants to have a chance of shooting that Chiri, he's going to have to move back. Anyway, this is an assault game on Derpenberg, which can be a little problematic. I mean, it's actually unusual here. Most of the friendly team, and this is the attacking team of course, most of these guys have gone over to the 9 line, which is unusual. Usually you get a much stronger push down the 1 and 2 lines, but never mind. So Legend's just seeing if he can pick out a shot on the SU-100. Alas, no joy. Oh, no, wait, there we go. Chiri. Chiri, big, soft, squidgy target. Ah, misses. That's a shame. SU-100, nah, shot misses. The 12T, there we go, tracks the SU-100 in place, and he's dead. The 12T's gun is, well, in common with a lot of the French light tanks. The accuracy and aim time is pretty terrible on this machine. But, sorry about that, but Legend has managed to make a pretty good use of his first magazine. Now, although this is a light tank, you wouldn't really call French light tanks dedicated scout tanks. I mean, one of their distinguishing features, two of their distinguishing features from Tier 6 and upwards is the presence of that autoloader, 6-round autoloader, and also their kind of lackluster mobility. For a light tank, they're a bit on the sluggish side. And Legend here is effectively top tier. It's a Tier 7 game, which is the best matchmaking that the Tier 6 light tank, the 12T, will get. Now he's moving forward at this point. He's going to be the spotter and light these guys up and hopefully bring down the wrath of God upon them. He's got some tank destroyers and a medium tank giving him support. Oh, takes 1 round from the Chiri there too. Chiri has that annoying little 3-round autoloader, but Chiri takes pain for his troubles. More pain by the look of it than he dished out, so that's not too bad a trade. That VK, just no. Never going to work out. And there's the second kill for Legend. Chiri is still taking pain. The IS here is kind of behind a rock, which is a little bit annoying. Ooh, Chiri takes some more pain, and Chiri is dead. Which way is the IS looking? Ooh, surprise, KV-85. Oh, this is bad. But the KV-85 is now on fire. Oh, he flubs his second shot. That's the shot that would have killed Legend. But no, he misses. And Legend manages to put some shots in, and the friendly Type 58 finishes him off. So the Tier 6 tanks, I think it's a Jagdpanzer 4 Hellcat and a Type 58, who are giving Legend covering fire, are actually doing a pretty good job. All too often, as a light tank, you go forward, your allies give you covering fire, but their idea of covering fire is trash. This IS is now in a terrible position. He's taking an awful lot of damage, including Legend pumping rounds into the side of his turret, and there we go. He's got 100 health left, and he's dead. The value of a half-decent scout. Doesn't have to be a light tank, of course, but somebody who is willing to move forward and play the role of a scout. And there to the left is the corpse of a guy who drowned earlier on full health. Hurrah! Scoreline is 8-5, and now the guys who were giving Legend some covering fire are moving forward. which is also nice to see. Far too often people just sit at the back and camp a painful amount. Anyway, there's only 5 guys left on the enemy team. And they've got 5 minutes left. So far, this is not too shabby a game at all.
5-minute warning.
VK3001D is dead, there's only 4 of them left. We know where the KV2 is, we know where the T3485 is, we know where the T29 now is, looking the wrong direction. But if he's going to swing around, you're not going to penetrate the side of the turret of a T29 with this gun, not really. And Legend moves back. And the T29 takes some fire. Be careful of that little ridgeline there. It is very easy to accidentally drown yourself. T29 getting shot up by a whole bunch of people. Hellcat puts in a nice round. T29 on fire, takes more damage. And this guy, I mean, he was a big threat. A T29 in a tier 7 game is a very big threat, but he's just in a bad position and he's dead. Looks like he managed to get around into the Hellcat before he went down, but he did go down. Now, we know there's only this VK3001D is on his own. Legend is reloading the magazine. I would have done that a lot sooner personally, but that's just me, or gone with the 5 rounds I had in it. Legend's going to move forward. They should hopefully be tracking shots. And he can just unload his magazine into this guy. VK manages to kill the Hellcat, but here the VK can't get his gun round far enough to shoot at Legend, and the Type 58 finishes him off. Legend loads in his last magazine of regular armor-piercing ammo. And there's just the KV2 and the T3485 remaining. There's over 3 minutes of this game left. Should be plenty of time to either cap or just to murder these 2 guys. Let's just speed this along a little bit.
3 minutes
And
left.
there we go. There's the 3-minute warning. KV2. I should point out that 3-minute warning is part of a mod I was using. It's not standard World of Tanks. There's the rear of the KV2. Can't see the T3485, so just keep unloading into this KV2. Oh, that one bounced. It's going to be difficult to kill this guy now. That's a shame. Oh, someone else picks up the kill anyway. And it was just as Legend fired, so he's now reloading the magazine. And doesn't want to get shot by this T34. Doubt Legend's going to get the kill. Their team's capping as well. I mean, this is now a win. There we go. T3485 dies. Et voila. Looked like quite a lot of damage from a 12T. Let's go and see exactly how much it was. So how did that game go in the end for Legend? Well, that was an ace tanker. Fire for effect, spotter, bruiser, and high caliber. Yeah, high caliber in a light tank is always nice to get. He picked up... Yeah, sorry that the end plates here are in a slightly funky position, but never mind. 2,525 damage, which easily puts him at the top of either team in terms of damage done. 2 kills, 1,260 base experience. I mean, if you look at the amount of damage people did. The enemy team, that KV2 hit 1,800. Friendly team, that Hellcat hit 1,800. Easily top on damage. 24 shots fired, 22 hits, 19 penetrations to pick up that damage count. He also picked up 1,420 assistance damage, and with a premium account made a profit of 42,000 credits. That would have been 23 with a regular account. So, a very nicely played game overall. Well done to Legend. Here's the second game I have for you. This one is moving up a tier now. We're still in French line tanks, but this is the AMX 1375 at tier 7. And this is driven by Mac. Now, we the game I mentioned earlier on, I was originally going to show you an artillery game, French artillery. That was going to be one of Mac's games, so it seemed only fitting that as the game I was going to show was going to be Mac's, that Mac should have a replay feature in the video that I eventually show. So, this is an assault game. Mac is on the defending team here on Sand River. I should point out this is the patch 9.7 Sand River. So this is before the patch 9.8 changes to this map. So the position that Mac's actually going to use is not as viable as it used to be. They've removed some of these bushes, for example, from this ridgeline. And there you can see Mac has spotted a bunch of guys. Now the AMX 1375 gets the same gun as the AMX 12T, but it gets better accuracy and better soft stats on the gun, but still gives it one of the lowest penetrations of any, in fact the lowest penetration of any non-premium Tier 7 light tank. The only Tier 7 light tank I can think of with worse penetration is actually the AMX, what's it called? 1357, that's the Badger, which gets slightly lower penetration with its armor-piercing rounds. And, ooh, Mac takes a big hit there, so I don't think Mac is using Sixth Sense. That T-37 is kind of in the way, but Mac does manage to run away. Now, he got some assistance damage there, which is good, but he has taken a big whack of damage himself, which is kind of suboptimal. Should also mention, of course, that much like the previous game, this is essentially the best matchmaking the tank gets. It's a Tier 8 game, it's a Tier 7 light tank, so there we go. Good matchmaking. I'm gonna do a full review of this tank at some point, the 1375, but all told, it's not exactly a great machine. It's sluggish, the gun has low penetration, the aim time is not brilliant, it's massively outclassed by the T-71, essentially. In fact, the only thing it really has going for it is that it has very good camouflage values, so it's quite sneaky. Anyway, there's a Carnarvon that Mac has spotted out, and we're just seeing if mainly the artillery on his team, but anyone else on his team, can rain down death and destruction on this fellow. There's also an M41 Walker Bulldog, another tank that, as far as I can work out, massively outclasses the 1375, but never mind. This is not a review video. And again, Mac is just using this passive bush location. Now, like I said, now this map, this location is not quite as viable, and Mac is now switching to shooting. Now, he can see how far away the Bulldog is, so the Bulldog is very unlikely to spot him, but as for whether there's anyone who could spot Mac or not, well, remains to be seen. Puts his last shot here. Mac does have Sixth Sense. Right, Mac puts his last shot into that Carnarvon. He gets spotted for his troubles, which means earlier on, when he was shot, I didn't see Sixth Sense go off, so Mac was the victim of someone just blind shooting a bush. They'd been spotted, they thought someone might be in that bush, blind fire it. Entirely doable. You know, if you know the common positions that people tend to hang out in, and this was one of them, then you can just blind fire places. Spotted a Ferdinand now. Ferdinand is looking at Mac. Yeah, Mac, I really wouldn't be there. As soon as the Ferdinand started pointing his gun in this direction, I would have moved, because it takes a few seconds for Sixth Sense to go off. Now, just continuing to work this ridgeline really, being aware that he doesn't want to be spotted by anybody. There's that Carnarvon from earlier on. He is 350 odd meters away by the look of it. Yeah, doesn't look like Mac has a shot. Oh, hello Mr. Walker Bulldog, 473. And that shot misses. There we go, kills the Bulldog. And now starts ploughing shots into the side of the Carnarvon, gets spotted, bounces that shot, has one round left in his autoloader, goes for the reload. The clip reload time on this tank is pretty good, it's under 20 seconds. It's faster than the T-71, that's kind of the main way in which the 1375 is better. Technically it has better camouflage, as I said as well, but eh. So Mac here is doing a very good combination of scouting, of spotting, and doing damage. He's also, oh that was lucky, he's picked out the shoulder weak spot of that Ferdinand. And manages to penetrate 2 rounds out of 3 into that guy. So the Ferdinand is based on the hull of the Tiger P, and the Tiger P has these little shoulder regions that are side armour, but they're at an angle and you can shoot them from the front. And Tier 6 light tanks, you know, and medium tanks and light tanks can penetrate those areas, as can anyone else. They are very weak. I think they're 80mm of armour or something, with a bit of angling. 1375 on the enemy team, there's 1 round into him, there's the second, and there's kill number 2. And Mac just goes for that reload. With the quick reload time on this gun, you can just go for that reload relatively often, and go into most engagements with a full magazine, which is nice. And with the 135 average damage from this gun, That means that you are doing 270 damage after 2 shots, which is 600, 810 damage after all 6 rounds, which is not too bad. Slightly lower than the 900 average damage from the T71, but still a very respectable amount of clip potential. So, the Ferdinand up here is dead. There's a Jagdtiger and a Pershing, we know roughly where they are. So methinks Mac may well be going for the enemy artillery. Just going to speed this along a little bit. 1375 doesn't have the beefiest engine in the world, and watching it climb uphill can get a little tedious. And there we go. There's the rear of the Jagdtiger. It's kind of slim shot, but it is still possible. There we go, there's 1 round. That one misses. That one also misses. That one penetrates. That one misses. And 1 more. No. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. You can see that Mac is... Oh, there we go. Nah. You can see that Mac is running out of ammunition, much like Legend was in the last game. And that's another thing that these French light tanks have in common. And it's a feature that's maintained on the top tank on this tech line, the Batchat medium tank at tier 10. They have very low ammunition counts, and so there is a real limit on the amount of damage you can actually output in a game. Now, sadly, there's no Pascucci's medal on the table here. One of the enemy artillery has been killed, but Mac can still potentially nail the other 2. Oh, wow, that was unlucky. Oh, and the Carnarvon polishes off the Lorraine. Mac actually goes for a clip reload here. I wouldn't necessarily have advised it. He had 3 rounds left in the magazine, which is enough to deal with a Hummel. And he only has 4 rounds of armor piercing left anyway, so it wouldn't have made that much difference. But as it turns out, he can go into this engagement with a full magazine, and that's fine. 1 round into the Hummel, 2nd, 3rd one will kill the guy. There we go. There's kill number 3. And Mac now reloads his gun and loads in the clip of APCR that he had. Or that he has. And when you have these low ammo count guns, this is one of the problems with switching up your ammunition types. That you can get into the realms where you start having incomplete magazines. But anyway, as it turns out, Mac isn't able to put in any more damage there, but a very good game from him nonetheless. Let's go and see how well he did. So, that was an ace tanker. Mac also got the Spotter Fire for Effect and Bruiser ribbons. You can see it was a ×5 experience event when Mac played this. So, you can see that Mac picked up 2,123 of his own damage, 1,346 base experience, 3 kills. Damage-wise, he was 3rd on his team, which is pretty respectable for a light tank. Experience-wise, he was easily top of the team. He also did more damage than anyone on the enemy team, but just over 2,000 damage, 1,350 base experience. Where did all that come from? Well, the 4,215 assistance damage might have had something to do with it. This game would have been sufficient to complete Light Tank Mission 15 for either the Stug or the Stug 4 or the T28 heavy tank concept, as that combined damage total puts him at over 6,000. And he survived, so as of patch 9.8, that would also complete the secondary conditions for Light Tank Mission 15, which has now been made into Survive the Game, which is really frustrating. So yes, 29 shots fired, 22 hits, 18 pens for that 2,123 damage. A lot of it was from long range. There wasn't really much in the way of close range brawling there. 4,215 assistance damage. Who did he get that assistance damage on? We've got... Yep, Carnarvon, Ferdinand, yep, AMX 12T, all of the Tiger 2 healths, Tiger 2's health, Lorraine, artillery, and the enemy AMX 1375. Nicely done. In terms of money, well, he was running a premium account at the time, so he made a 55,500 credit profit. Without that premium account, it still would have been 34,500 credit profit. Very profitable game, and as I said, got that ×5 XP event. So once you've factored in the premium account, that goes up to 2019 experience plus 100 free XP. times 5, over 10,000 experience and over 500 free experience. Very nicely played game indeed. I hope you guys enjoyed that pair of French light tank games in the AMX 12T and the AMX 1375. Thank you very much to Legend and to Mac for sending those two games in. If you did enjoy them, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.